Hello, amazing artist. Today I want to give you a couple of little pointers that I think will help your painting go just a little bit easier. For starters, I want to talk to you about using the watercolor paints and the brushes. Before we can use watercolor paints, we need to add a bit of water to each little palette depending on which color we're going to use. So let's say that I was going to use some green and I wanted to be able to use it. It's not enough for me to just get a bit of water on my brush and then brush into the green and expect to have any real color. Now, you see a nice light green there. If that's what you're looking for, then great. But ideally, we're always going to start by adding a couple of drops of water to the palette in order to get the pigment, this hard stuff right here that's called paint. We want that color to come out so that we can have it to paint with. So I'm going to use the larger brush for that, and the reason why is because if I have a larger brush, I'm going to be able to get a larger drip of water. So each time I'm adding just a drop of clean paint water. Now, if your water is dirty because other people have been using it, then you're going to want to go and get some clean water. Now, this has got a small puddle in it, and so the next thing I want to do is just sort of move the brush gently around in there. It's not really digging. This is just a paintbrush, not a shovel. So what we want to do is just gently move the water around on the palette so that we can loosen up a little bit of that color. By now, some of the pigment will have blended in with the water, and when I paint, I'm going to have a much darker green than that first one that we can barely see. Another problem that you might come up with whenever you're painting is that one of your colors may have been mixed. Lots of students use these paints and paintbrushes, so it's not uncommon to find a dirty paintbrush or a dirty paint palette. So to clean that up so that you can use it, there's a couple of easy little tricks to do. I'm going to show you one that almost never fails. So let's say, most common, yellow is usually going to be the easiest. It's the lightest color on this palette. So it's probably going to have orange in it sometimes, and it might have a bit of green in it sometimes. So same thing, what you want to do is loosen up that pigment by adding a few drops of water. You want to always keep a puddle in there when you're painting anyway, but since I'm trying to clean this out, I'm going to put a little bit of a larger puddle in there. Stir, not dig, just stir gently. And then using a paper towel, I'm just going to try to pull out some of the color that I don't want in there. Now, I'm not saying that it will all come out, but you can get it a bit cleaner. If it's got a lot of orange or a lot of green in it, you'll be able to get some of it out so that instead of having a, green orange or a yellow green or a yellow orange type color, you'll have more of a vibrant yellow, which is what we're looking for. The last thing that I want to talk to you about is whenever you have too much paint and maybe it's dripping over into an area that you don't want. So one good example already is just here where this green is. There's kind of a big puddle there. Let's say I didn't really want it there, or I didn't want it to dry that dark. Same thing, you can use your paper towel to just lift that color off. So to do that, I'm not going to wipe. I'm just going to press down and hold for a second and lift it straight back up. Now that lifted a lot of color off of there. If you didn't want that much color, then you would get some more and just, paint over it. But anytime you have one of those big puddles and you're worried about a puddle of paint, maybe it has dripped over into an area that you don't want, so that it doesn't belong in, then you can easily kind of just blot that up just with a quick tap, and then you'll absorb some of that liquid there on your paintbrush until you're finished. Now, just keep an eye on your paint water. When it starts to get pretty dirty, you can easily dirty up all the other colors. So it's really important to just go and change it for clean water, and your clean water is going to just fill about halfway to the sticker. You don't want a lot because we don't want it splashing out all over your artwork or all over someone else's artwork. Okay, good luck.